Hi, I'm Mola. I'm here to simplify the complex academic career journey for you. Here's my story. I started out in Africa at the University of Zambia. I have a PhD in genetics. I'm an alumna of the Max Planck Institute for Plant Breeding Research. I have over 20 years' experience in academia, and I'm a National Geographic explorer. This channel is here to help you write your story. Hi, welcome. I'm so glad you could be here. Have you ever watched one of those cooking shows where they're like, you can make this amazing black forest scatter with only these three ingredients? And you're like, well, we're going to do something like that here today. What if I told you you could have this amazing career with only three ingredients? Let's find out what those could possibly be. Number one is skills. Who knew? Speaking of skills, this is the second time I'm making this video because I botched the sound on the other one. I hope I get it better than this one. That seems kind of obvious, but it's amazing how people don't take the most obvious things as seriously as they should. Without skills, you've basically got no foundation. And when I talk about skills, I mean always upgrading, always building, always adding, never just staying still and never going backwards. In a field like biotech, especially biotech, you must always be going forwards and adding to what you know. And you can't do that in a kind of random fashion. You're not going to absorb information by osmosis. You must be deliberate about it. So, number one in our three ingredient fix for your career is skills, having a deliberate strategy and a plan to build them and knowing which skills you have to actually acquire first and which ones are most important. Then, number two is foresight. I say foresight because foresight is what gives you focus. You can't focus on something unless you know what to focus on. And the only thing that's going to give you that kind of clarity is if you have a good understanding of the lay of the land. You have to feed yourself with good information, good data regularly in a deliberate fashion again, so that you're knowledgeable. And that means that you make better decisions when you're looking at what kind of project to get into, even what kind of collaborations to start up. You'll be able to look 5, 10 years down the line and see what's probably going to be most important. So foresight gives birth to focus. And without focus, you can't have a fantastic career. A fantastic career is basically what happens when you spend all your time focusing all your energy in one little nice niche that really interests you. A lot of people find themselves pulled in all these different directions. You know, when the money comes from here or when the opportunity for collaboration comes from there, you might not have a strategy of your own. So it's so important to have your own research strategy, your own identity as a researcher, as a scientist, so that you can be focused in your approach and you'll be focused in the kind of outputs you make. But I need to add to that that you can only get that focus if you also start by trying different things to see what really works for you. I'm big on authenticity. I think that's what gives you the longevity in a scientific career if you really genuinely care about the things that you're working on. And you can only do that if you try a couple of things and see what actually works. Then number three is networks. Science is not a lonely field at all. You need collaboration. You need to work with other people a lot of the time to get anything important done. But you have to be specific and very selective in the kind of people who you work with because it can be quite toxic as well. It's a dog eat dog kind of world. We all know the saying, publish or perish, right? And because of that, people can get desperate, and desperate people can do really desperate things. That includes stealing your ideas, that includes backstabbing you, it includes throwing you under the bus, it includes getting your ideas, getting funding for those, and leaving you out of the mix. It happens, it happens all the time. I think the worst one, which I've heard of, is where somebody actually submitted a grant proposal, and one of the people on the panel that were looking at the proposals stole the idea and went and ran with it themselves. You know, so it can be really toxic and unhealthy. But the way you counter that is by being selective in the kind of network you have. I like to call them functional friends. These are people who actually have your back and actually want to see you succeed. They're not people who think that there isn't enough for everybody, that your success means their loss. They're the kind of people who understand that there's enough for everybody, and it's even better if everybody succeeds. Such people are honestly really valuable to have. That's why you got to nurture these relationships. And another note on network: without your network, you're not really going to be able to do collaborations as effectively. And without collaborations, you won't be able to get the bigger money that will really get your vision going. So it's really important to take every opportunity to grow your network. How many times have you gone to a scientific conference, and because you're so excited about being out there, maybe being in a new country, maybe even being outside Africa for the first time or for the seventh time, whatever, but you're in a place that is really fantastic and you're really enjoying yourself, and the only thing you do is sightsee, you're missing the point. I call them functional friends because a lot of the time you meet them at these functions and they also serve a function in your future. So you should mind these opportunities to establish new relationships, new friends. You actually need to get out of your shell. I'm an introvert. And for me, that's the worst part of going to conferences, actually. The whole meeting people part, the whole conferencing part. I'd rather just stay in my room, go do my talk and then just stay in my room. I like that. But you need to make those relationships, and it's amazing what comes out of these relationships, especially if you strike a rapport with somebody who sort of sees things your way, or who's interested in something from a different angle in your field, and they bring something fresh even to your own research paradigm. So I really like to use those opportunities to grow my network, and so should you. So part of the skills you need is this ability to talk to people, interact with people, and use it in a way that actually benefits you, not just a chit chat, not just a coffee or a drink, or but actually talking about what you can do together in the future. You really don't know who your functional friends are going to be till you meet them. Those are my three ingredient fix for fixing your career. If you work on your skills deliberately and look for opportunities to go pick up specific skills, that doesn't mean going for a PhD. But if there is a 2 week training, or if there's an attachment, or if there's an exchange you can go on, and those are much easier to get than the longer term placings, you can get those all the time. So, skills, number one. And foresight, number two, because foresight is what gives you focus. And without focus, you can't have a fantastic career. And then number three, networks. Networks, networks, networks. Whether you're an introvert, extrovert, doesn't matter, you need networks. So, if you like this kind of content, I hope you'll be back. Subscribe, like, leave comments down below. I really would love to hear what kind of things you think were super important if you're somebody who's further down your journey. Share with us what kind of things do you think were really important in your journey? Because, in my opinion, these three things are the game changers. If early on in your career you focus on these things, you won't struggle. You won't struggle for all the other good stuff which comes later on down the road, and it will actually come quicker. But nobody told me this stuff. So, what I basically shared with you today is all the stuff that I wish I had known when I was like, what? When I was still young. Anyway, so please comment. I'll see you in the next video.